At this point of time, let's welcome in our guest in the morning. Gaurang Shah is now joining us, as well as K. Subramaniam. Gaurang, let me start with you. Before we come to your picks, can you just tell us about the city targets? Do you think that market has upside and large caps will lead that up move?
Morning, Pankaj. Well, I think it's a very conservative target according to us, and the reason being is, of course, your earnings are likely to improve going forward. Whatever we've seen in the third quarter post the demonetization and then remonetization, a lot of us expected on the streets for the third quarter earnings to be a little bit of more on the disappointment side. It has been otherwise. And now with fourth quarter earnings and the next fiscal outlook being more robust and positive, our sense is that we have strength to even go beyond the levels that have been mentioned. Of course, with the caveat that there should not be any unpleasant situation either on the domestic or the global front in form of geopolitical situation, which none of us can possibly assume or presume. So my sense is that whatever dips that you get will be a great opportunity to buy. Flows will remain strong, I concur with that view, and more so from the domestic institution, because from the mutual fund SIP route, you know the number that we've seen over the last 3 to 4 months. And it only is going to increase going forward as more participation gets attracted towards long-term investment in equity. More so with the policies of the government, my sense is that there is going to be earnings visibility improvement. And of course, with GST implementation, as what the finance minister gave a verbatim yesterday, well, if 1st July 2017 is the date that we keep up with, then I think that's going to add to the positivity, not only to the corporate earnings, but also to the tax collection by the government and also for the GDP growth rate.
Right. What are your picks?
Well, from the auto ancillary, we picked one company called Banco Products. This is a company which is into the OEM CV segment by and large. Expect the earnings improvement. Our first initial coverage started at levels of 130, 140 with a target of 185. Stock is trading at, I believe, 200, 205. We have a revised target of 235. The second one is from the NBFC.
Just wanted to ask about Banco. It's a new initiation?
No, it's an old initiation with a revised target. That's what I was saying. We started our coverage at 130, 135 with a target of 185. The target was achieved. On fallback of earnings, we've revised the target upwards to 235. On NBFC microfinance, well, we've initiated a coverage. Of course, we had IPO subscribe recommendation on Ujjivan Finance with the payment bank and the third largest ranking in terms of microfinance companies. And given the fact that they've got somewhere close to about 400 plus branches pan-India, we believe that the earning visibility is going to increase. And not to forget, I think the added trigger is going to be the payment bank license. That's going to add to the positivity. 520 is the long-term target on Ujjivan Finance.
All right, so we've got picks coming in for Gaurang. We have Amar Singh with us as well. But Subra, what are your top picks for the day?
Well, to begin with, buy on IOC, which has shown some resilience in a volatile market, possibly could be bought for a possible target of 390. Keep a stop loss of 362. And a couple of sell calls. The auto sector is looking distinctly weak, and we feel that we could see some downside in likes of an Ashok Leyland. Could be sold for a possible target of 80. Keep a stop loss from 92. And also a sell call on Power Grid, which has been, of course, seen some very decent gains, but possibly heading for some small correction. Maybe could be sold for a possible target of 185. Keep a stop loss of 197.
All right, 2 sell calls and 1 buy call coming in from Subra. Amar, what are your top picks for the day?
Yeah, very good morning. The first is a buy call on Britannia Industries. Britannia, we've seen a significant rally and the overall uptrend remains intact. So it can be a buy at dips somewhere around 3,300 and 3,310. So that's a level to buy Britannia Industries with a stop loss of 3,237 and a target of 3,430 because it's still looking strong on the charts. So there is a buying opportunity. The second is a sell call on IRB Infra. What we've seen in IRB Infra is that it's witnessed profit booking and some selling pressure since it's corrected from almost 250 levels. So any rally towards 230, 233 levels can be used as a shorting opportunity in IRB Infra with a stop loss of 237.50 and a target of 223. And the third call is a buy on Kotak Mahindra Bank. What we've seen is that Kotak Mahindra Bank, overall the trend remains firm, and yesterday, in spite of a sell-off in the market, the stock stood firm. And technically speaking also, it's strong on the chart. So Kotak Mahindra Bank is a buy in the range of 850 to 855 with a stop loss of 842 and a target of 879.
So these are the picks coming in from our top three panelists this morning. Some names that will be in focus as far as news flow is concerned. So the entire Vedanta group, Hindustan Zinc will be in focus, Vedanta will be in focus. Hindustan Zinc had a board meet yesterday, and that board meet was for a dividend, a special dividend. But the dividend has been a big one, 27.5. Now, if I look at the futures indication and what the market was expecting, it was around 19 to 20 odd rupees. But this is higher than that. It implies a 9.6% sort of a yield if on the current price of about 311. Dividend is higher than market expectation of about 20 odd rupees, and that is something which the markets should like this morning. Record date for this dividend is March 30th, 2017. So in the next few days, you should get this stock going ex-dividend. However, it would have implication on Hindustan Zinc. So the dividend or the cash payout will lead to an improvement in capital. Capital base would be lower, earnings would be almost similar. So it can lead to an improvement in the ROE, especially considering where the zinc prices are right now. Also, Deutsche Bank says that Hindustan Zinc can sustain a payout. It may not be as high as this level, but they believe that sustained higher payouts could be possible in the future. Also, it will be interesting for Vedanta. Remember, Vedanta is the parent of Hindustan Zinc. They own 65% stake into the company, so majority of the dividend will come into them. For Vedanta, there could be a windfall gain of around $1.2 billion. Also, it was expected on a big way, but it's higher than what the street was expecting. As far as Vedanta is concerned, when you talk about the post-merger Vedanta entity, it has a net debt, and this dividend represents about 20% of the net debt. So it could be quite useful for the payment of this net debt, and that's quite a big number. So it's not only Hindustan Zinc which will be in focus, but even Vedanta, which may react to this particular news flow. Gaurang, what will be your call on Vedanta post this dividend? Do you think debt coming down for Vedanta should be one of the big positives?
I think extremely positive, and it's very encouraging to see the kind of numbers in terms of dividend payout. We had initiated a coverage on Vedanta from 90 rupees. We continue to maintain a positive coverage on Vedanta, and I think the entire metal pack, Pankaj, despite the fact that we've seen a tremendous amount of recovery, our sense is that the pricing power is likely to come back, and that's visible in certain flat and long product prices going upwards. Plus, if the government focuses on domestic companies manufacturing ferrous, non-ferrous metal, and if the government consumes the same, my sense is that the visibility is going to increase to a much more better level. And of course, if there is going to be, protective measures taken by the government in terms of minimum import price, anti-dumping duty, then I think that will be an added tailwind to the entire metal pack. So we remain positive on Vedanta. The second coverage in the metal pack is Hindalco, and on JSW Steel we have a hold recommendation.
Right, so that's as far as Vedanta and the metal pack is concerned. 15 other stocks have been added to the F&O series, and all of them should react. From March 31st is when they will get the first contract on the April series. That's Reliance Defense, earlier known as Pipavav Shipyard. PVR is added to this list. Interglobe Aviation, that's of course a new listing. It got listed about in November 2015 around Diwali, and now it has been added to the F&O series. Capital First has been one of the big outperformers added to the F&O name. Muthoot Finance and Dalmia Bharat are amongst others. But Dalmia Bharat has low volumes. Maybe after the F&O series, you see a pickup in the volumes as well. Equitas Holding, that's a new listing. It's from the microfinance space. Ujjivan Financial Services is also a new listing. It's from the financial space. And Infibeam Corporation, of course, it's an e-commerce business which has been listed in the last 18 months or so. So these are three new listings which have been added. Some other names, Suzlon, it was earlier a part of F&O, then it got removed, and now it's coming back into the F&O series. Piramal Enterprise, of course, is a old listed company, and similar is the case with Escorts. Escorts recently has done well. Volumes have gone up, so maybe that's why there is that it has made its way inside. Max Financial, Indian Bank, Shree Cements are some of the other names. Max Financial has seen a big restructuring. Shree Cements has done very well in the last several years, and that's why probably these names are also getting added. 15 new names added. That's quite a big list as far as the additions are concerned. They'll be applicable from next series, 31st of March. That's next Friday. Would be the first day of trading for these stocks.
There are a few other stocks we are watching out for on news developments. There are a few stocks that are going ex-dividend and the prices will adjust for that. Ajanta Pharma giving a dividend of 7 rupees a share and EIL giving a dividend of 2.5 rupees a share. Then we have board meetings of refiners, HPCL and IOC, and this is they will be discussing the special dividend, so we'll be watching out for that. Oil India will buy back shares via tender offer. The buyback price is 340 rupees a share, so that'll be one to watch. There are reports saying that Bank of Baroda is considering reducing its stake in its insurance firm. We'll watch out for a reaction. Sadbhav Infrastructure has emerged as the lowest bidder, L1, for NHAI-HAM project. And Reliance Infrastructure, there are reports saying that its demerger plan will be pushed back to the next fiscal year. And Andhra Bank is also meeting today to discuss and consider raising equity capital.
Right, all of these stocks will be in focus. The interesting ones, of course, will be the F&O edition. Subra, just before markets open, what do you expect the reaction to these F&O edition names?
Well, Pankaj, it's a mixed pack. I think there are certain illiquid items which normally I think find it difficult, in terms of trading volumes like of Shree Cement, PVR. But yeah, there are some interesting items also like Sovereign Equitas and which normally attract a lot of volume on the cash segment. So an interesting pack. So we'll have to see how exactly they pan out. But as I mentioned, it's a mixed pack and probably some more liquid items could have been considered for the F&O segment.
Right, but generally the trend is positive once stocks gets included in the F&O series?
Well, it can be a double-edged sword because we have seen this happening repeatedly where inclusions have led to serious erosions as well as some serious rises where after which we have seen sell-offs. So it's a difficult call to take, but considering the pedigree of the stocks, I think likes of PVR are normally fine.
So I'll just come back to you. Markets have opened 21 points higher for the Nifty 9,051. This is exactly where the markets opened yesterday as well, but it was down about 50-60 points. That's Hindalco for you, 194. Coal India absolutely flat with a positive bias. ONGC is up 1 rupee. BPCL, HPCL, IOC, all three have board meet today for interim dividend. That came in as a surprise. It came in post-market hours. Reliance Industries, 4 rupees higher, 1263, flat with a positive bias. That's Hindustan Zinc, 3% higher right from the word go. So the markets have priced in that entire 7-8 rupees sort of a benefit that the company has got. Vedanta on your screen is up 2.5. That's of course the owner of Hindustan Zinc, so they get direct benefit of this particular extra dividend. 267 for 5 for 0.5. These are F&O additions. Interglobe Aviation 943, 8 rupees higher, not much in terms of reaction. That's Reliance Defense, that's up 5%, 61.62 for Reliance Defense. Remember, it's a part of ADHE Group company now, 2.8 lakh shares added. PVR is up 1.5. Again, it's been a great name and it's done very well. And now it's being included in the F&O pack. Capital First is up around 1.5 to about 4%. That's 10 rupees higher. Muthoot Finance is also doing well. It's up 1% or so. That's around 351. That's about 5,000 shares traded. Dalmia Bharat, not much in terms of trading, not much in terms of action as well on the basis of this particular edition. Let's look at Equitas as well. 1.5%, 3 rupees higher, not much in terms of reaction. Infibeams, there could be a reaction. So that's about 10 rupees on the lower side, 1,344. Ujjivan Financial Services up about 1.4, 1.5. Suzlon also should be on the positive side. Suzlon is up about 1 rupee. That's close to about 4%. Piramal Enterprise 1% here and there, 20 rupees higher, 3,000 shares in terms of volume. So that's also a name which is doing well based on the F&O edition. Anisha, any names that you can pick up on the volume side where volume action is very high?
Well, today the markets have had a good open, and it is the usual names that you mentioned. Suzlon, that's up 4%. Hindustan Zinc is up 2.5%. We're seeing some movement in the metal names as well. Hindalco up 0.5%. So really, it is related to what is happening when it comes to the F&O inclusions, as well as Marico, which is up 2.5%. Equitas is also up. IOC is up 2%. Manappuram Finance up 2%. So these are reactions that were to some extent expected. Reliance Communication though is down about 1%. So that is one stock to watch out for. What would you do with the banking stocks, Gaurang, from here on? Do you think you'd be cautious for some of the PSU bank names? They in any case have not rallied in the most recent rally. Would you wait for the earnings and then decide if you want to add on some of these names? How do you view the PSU space?
Lamisha, certain PSU banks in the mid-cap and small-cap category will definitely bleed on fallback of disappointing numbers and increased gross and net NPA provisioning and recovery business. So you need to be careful what you're buying. If you ask me which ones you should avoid as of now, then Punjab National Bank is one of the stocks, Oriental Bank of Commerce is the other one, and possibly other smaller regional banks follow the suit. In terms of positive coverage, what you can go and buy at current levels, well, those names are State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, Union Bank of India, and Andhra Bank. And Andhra Bank is also in the news, as Pankaj was just alluding to. So our sense is that these are the set of names, but if you have a weak appetite and if your risk-taking capacity is at a lower level, then I think it's prudent to stick with private sector banks. Those are Axis, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Kotak, IndusInd, Yes Bank, Federal Bank. These are some of the coverage that we have.
All right. What would you do with a Titan, Subra? Any view there? Subra, your view on Titan? It's up about 0.5%.
Yeah, Titan has seen some great resurgence in the last few months, and of course at current levels probably would be more keen on profit taking. Yesterday we already seen some clear signs of selling. So I would prefer to sell at if today we do have any advance. Probably one could book some profit for a trader could book profits, but on the long term charts has clearly shown some uptrend, and we could possibly see the stock advance up to levels of maybe 490. But for the very immediate short term, probably some profit taking could be seen.
Right. Subra, what will be your call on Reliance Industries? So it had that big surge and now it's looking absolutely flat.
Well, I only hope it doesn't plateau to deceive, because now we have seen this repeatedly happening in the past. So I would expect that, after all the breakout that we saw past 1150, any correction probably would be arrested around levels of 1225. So we'll have to wait and watch. But currently, looking at the state of the market, any resumption on uptrend probably again could see some trimming of profits.
Right. Just wanted to highlight Bharat Financial as well. That's a name which is up 1 to 2 odd %. It's up and, it's been out of the FNO ban. So it was in the FNO ban for so long, and now that it's out of it for this series, I think it's seen this sort of a movement. So, Bra, you look at FNO space very closely. What happens when such a liquid stock is in a ban and now it's out of ban?
So normally it depends upon the broader trend of the stock. For something like Bharat Financial, it has been in some sort of a range. So I would expect that that would possibly continue, and I think it could be in the range of this 825 to 790. And but clearly there are the trend seems to suggest that there is appetite at the lower level. So if anybody holding the stock probably could hold on with a possible stop loss of 780.
Possible stop loss of
780.
Right. Amar, what's your call on Bharat Finance?
Yeah, overall, looking at Bharat Finance, technically it's not going anywhere, meaning on the upside it's meeting with resistance around 870, 880. Whereas on the downside it has got major support at around 745 to 750, and currently it's trading around 825. So clearly showing that overall, if I look at the trend medium term, long term trend, they are positive, there's no doubt about it. But the short-term trend remains sideways. So if one has to buy, then the stop should be below 740, and the upside, as I see, is somewhere in the region of 870 to 880. That's the level of resistance to watch out for.
Right. What will be your call on Vedanta based on levels? It's up 1.7% right now.
Yeah. Overall, looking at Vedanta, what we are seeing is that. The long-term trend definitely remains positive, but overall it's a slowing down of momentum. So clearly reflecting that there is some profit booking also happening. And also, if you look at the last few weeks of trading, on the upside, it's capped around 275, 76. That's a level of resistance on the upside. Whereas if you look on the downside, 240, 245 is a level of support. And currently it's around 260, 65. So I would say from a short-term perspective, it's definitely sideways. It's not going anywhere. And I would say from a medium-term perspective, we are seeing some slowing of momentum. So there could be further profit booking. The levels to watch out for, as I said, is around 240, 45 on the downside. That's a major support or bottom, you can say short-term bottom. Whereas on the upside, 275, 76, that's the recent high. That's the level of resistance to watch out for.
Right. In terms of Hindustan Zinc, any call? Can it outperform Vedanta the way it has earlier?
Yeah, looking at Hindustan Zinc in particular, what we are seeing in Hindustan Zinc that it has rallied and currently it's around 318. But its previous high of 333. That's a level to watch out for because that's a resistance level for Hindustan Zinc in the short term. Whereas on the support side, it's around 290, 288 to 290. However, if you look at technically speaking, Hindustan Zinc technically is stronger on the charts as compared to Vedanta. So if it sustains above in the short term above 320 levels, also it could head higher towards 330 and 35 levels.
All right. Subra, what kind of action have we seen for some of the telecom stocks in the F&O space? What are you seeing for Bharti Airtel? It saw a big cut a day earlier. Even now it remains slightly weak. An idea that has bounced back today.
Well, Anisha, actually, I expected this to the band to have been revised on the upside, but the way idea cracked below 100 effortlessly. So I think the selling pressure definitely could likely emerge around again levels of 110. So I think next few quarters are going to be pretty critical, and we could possibly these stocks reacting more on the negative side. And as far as Bharti is concerned, that has also given up most of the gains, which is a bit disturbing. And I mean, it's now approaching some very strong support levels of 330. So I think we need to see how exactly it pans out. But broadly, I think we have to keep an eye as to how whether it sustains at levels above 330.
Right. Amar, have you had a look at some of the real estate names? They seem to be slightly better off a day earlier when the markets corrected. Some of the realty names didn't see big cuts coming through. What are you seeing on the charts for DLF and Shobha?
Yeah, looking at DLF in particular, what we are seeing is that DLF is currently, I would say, profit booking has been seen on the stock, and it's trading around 146, 147 levels. But on the upside, it's not able to take out the 154, 55 level. And also, as I see, is that over the last few weeks in particular, it's been completely trading in a range. And on the downside, 138 to 140, and on the upside, 154 to 155. That's a range to watch out for. As far as the trend is concerned for DLF, what I see is that the long-term trend as well as the medium-term trend, they are positive, no doubt. But the short-term trend, we are witnessing some profit booking coming, and I would say that it's more of a trading range, and also overall the impact of the selling that we witnessed in the Nifty, that also is taking some toll on this. So I don't see at least DLF going or rallying significantly in the short term till the time it breaches 154, 155 on the upside.
All right. Gaurang, do you have a view on some of these NBFCs like Reliance Capital and Bajaj Finserv? Do you think one can look at buying these stocks on dips, or are they risky because of the valuation, lack of valuation comfort?
Well, at current valuation, the targets are very close for Reliance Capital, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, and likewise M&M Financials. So use dips to get into it, and I think that will make a very decent investment. But at current levels, if I have to identify one particular NBFC wherein you can go ahead and invest from a longer term perspective, I think it's that L&T Finance and Holding. And this particular name has seen a fantastic move upwards, spent a lot of time consolidating between 60 and 80 levels. And now with the earning visibility and the commentary from the management, our sense is that this is one particular stock. And of course, not to forget, it comes from the great pedigree. So our belief is that current levels, if you want to invest, then L&T Finance and Holding would be the name which we would recommend. On others, wait for a dip. I think there is no hurry to go and invest in the market. Be a little bit patient, get that correction, go and buy into these stocks.
Right. Subra, when it comes to the F&O side, open interest addition or reductions, what are you seeing in the pharmaceutical stocks? Because, stocks like Dr. Reddy's came under severe pressure because of the news developments, and when it corrected, we saw increase in volumes and in open interest addition as well. So what are we seeing for stocks like Dr. Reddy's, Aurobindo Pharma, Biocon? Today, all of the pharma stocks seem to have bounced back well.
Well, I think all of them are reacting to some pretty negative news flows, and Dr. Reddy has breached some pretty critical levels. I mean, that 2700 was supposed to be a very critical support level, but that has breached. So, but they are now reaching some very oversold zones. So we need to keep an eye on, as far as Dr. Reddy is concerned, probably a level of maybe 2500. And as far as the other pack goes, the one resilient stock which at least appears to be holding on, something like a Cipla, where I think we have seen some levels of it promises to go past 600, but I think broadly in a range. So Cipla would be the preferred stock, and maybe to a certain extent Aurobindo Pharma, which has also seen some sort of resilience, and probably also to levels of 651 could look to buy.
Right. One interesting name which is going up now is Shobha. Shobha was up 7% yesterday as well, and in the last 3 months it's up about 45%. Gaurang, any view on the real estate SPAC? And if you track Shobha, what's the call?
Well, there are a couple of names in the entire real estate pack which we are positive on, and the problem, Pankaj, is that this is the bad boy of the market, the real estate, or rather the whipping boy, if you may. And once you see the correction coming in the real estate, almost everybody goes down. But there are a few names, credible names, on fallback of lower debt on the balance sheet or no debt, execution, capability of executing projects in the time frame given by. We do have positive coverage on Shobha Limited, Godrej Properties, Mahindra Lifespace, Oberoi Realty, and Prestige Estates. These are some 5 names which we believe are great names to be. And not to forget, in the last 1 year, actually, Pankaj, if you go and see, these stocks have recovered almost about 20, 25, 30, 35% from the lows. But we believe that there is a major revamp that is almost coming in form of RERA. There is an added incentive in form of REITs, and of course there will be a major shake-up like we saw in telecom. A lot of weak players exist in the real estate pack with weak balance sheet and tremendously weak corporate governance. And once this RERA gets implemented at ground level, most of these mid-size, small-size players with a lot of issues on the balance sheet will get wiped out, and the larger names will tend to benefit, and these are some of the few names which will possibly have a niche advantage. So we believe these names, not at current levels, but on dips, would be a great names to buy. But having said that, let me also put it on record, you need to have a higher risk appetite because it's associated with real estate sector.
Right, but when they give returns, the returns also could be quite phenomenal.
Well, you saw that in the last 2 years, they have given you 20, 25, 30% plus returns. So yes, these names, if you want to have a, play it safe rather, with a little bit of lower risk, then these names are to be with.
Right. Amar, what will be your call on REC PFC? Are they looking interesting on charts? These are names that are trading at 52-week highs.
Yeah, overall, looking at REC, it's around 165 currently. And far as the trends are concerned, the trends are definitely very positive and strong, both on a medium term as well as long term for REC. From a short term perspective, we are seeing some profit booking coming in, but that's I would say temporary blip. 170 was the recent high, so it's currently trading around 165, 166, very close to its highs. So, and the upside, if you look at looking from a long-term perspective, it had traded as high as almost 190 levels. That was in June 2014. So clearly reflecting that it has all the potential towards reaching those levels, 185, 180, 85 levels. So clearly the trend remains positive. Yes, what we see on the charts is that it's in overbought territory on all time frames. So clearly reflecting that we could witness some profit booking. So the level to buy, if there is a sell-off, is somewhere around 160, 162. That could be a level to buy REC.
Right. Subra, what will be your call on REC PFC based on FNO data?
Well, Pankaj, REC has been real revelation because, it paid a hefty dividend of 7.5 rupees, but we didn't see the sort of profit taking that normally one would see. So it has held down. That only shows the appetite for the stock, and the buying came about closer to levels of 150, 160. So I think that probably should continue. And PFC also, I think, trying to do some catching up is done pretty well this week. So I think we should see it advancing up to levels of 150. But clearly, I think these are all being viewed as decent dividend yield companies, and going by the profiles also, I think both should be broadly outperformers.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us on NDTV Profit, giving us all your top picks for the day. As we go, let's take our disclosures. Gaurang, your disclosures.
Well, thanks a lot. No personal investment in any of these stocks that have been recommended, but they could be a part of our client's portfolio.
Amar, your disclosures.
Yeah, I personally don't hold stocks positions in the stocks that I've discussed, but yes, our clients could be having positions.
Subra, your disclosures.
Well, the views are same as what we give to our clients, and personally, I have no holdings.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us on NDTV Profit.